Hey everyone, welcome back to sydsknits. I'm so excited to show you how to make the Edgewise Vest, a timeless layering piece with clean lines, simple stitches, and bold shaping. Whether you're a beginner or a confident crocheter, this vest is such a satisfying make. For this project, I am using Sierra Yarn's cotton yarn, which has a really beautiful soft texture with just the right amount of structure. It's smooth to work with and gives your stitches great definition, perfect for garments like this. Also, if you want to try it, I've linked it below. You can use code sydsknits at checkout for an exclusive 15% off. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to begin crocheting. Let's get started. For this pattern, I'm using Sierra Yarn's cotton yarn, a super soft 100% cotton yarn that feels sturdy yet breathable. I went with the colors milk for the main body and light olive as the contrast, and I am in love with this combination. It's soft, earthy, and will go with everything. Ordering was incredibly quick and easy, and don't forget you can use my code sydsknits for 15% off your order at checkout. I linked everything below so you can grab the same yarn and crochet along with me. Now that we have our yarn, let's get ready. The Edgewise Vest is worked flat in 3 separate panels, 1 back panel and 2 front panels. After that, we'll seam the shoulders and sides, add edging, and choose our closure. For this, I'll be using a crochet tie. For this pattern, I'm using a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook, which is a US size D. It's a small hook that gives the fabric a nice, clean structure. We also have our Sierra Yarn cotton yarn in our main color and a separate skin in our accent color. This yarn has a light, gently textured surface, and it gives your fabric a soft, slightly bouncy feel with a beautiful, airy drape. If this is your first time crocheting, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through the very first steps. Let's start by making a slip knot using the X method, as I call it. It's super easy and a great way to begin your chain. First, you'll take your yarn and lay it over your fingers to make an X shape. The tail end should cross over the working yarn. Pinch where the yarn crosses to hold it in place. I like to use my last 2 fingers. Insert your hook under the first strand, the tail, and grab the second strand, the working yarn, or the yarn attached to the ball. Pull that strand through the X to form a loop on your hook. Now we are going to make a chain. Hold your hook in your dominant hand, which as I crochet I use my left, even though I'm right-handed, and hold the yarn with your other hand. Keep the tension steady, not too tight and not too loose. Now what we'll do is yarn over, wrapping the working yarn from back to front over your hook. With the hook, grab that yarn and pull it through the loop already on your hook. And that's it, you've made a chain. A chain is the most basic stitch in crochet. It's a series of loops pulled through each other one at a time. Think of it like the base row, kind of laying down the first row of bricks before building a wall. Once you finish those, add 2 extra chains. We call those turning chains, and they help you start the next row with height. Now that you've finished your foundation chain, let's start with the first row of double crochet stitches. You'll want to find the 3rd chain from your hook. Count back 1, 2, 3. We skip the first 2 chains because they count as the turning chain. What we'll do is yarn over, wrapping the yarn from back to front over your hook. Insert your hook into the third chain from the hook. Now this is what the stitch itself will look like when we insert our hook into that stitch or chain. Now we are going to yarn over and pull up a loop so that we have 3 loops remaining. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. You'll have 2 left. Yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. That's your first double crochet stitch. Keep repeating that same motion. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, until you reach the end of the row. You should end with the same number of double crochets as your starting chain before adding the turning chains. If you chain 26, you'll have 24 double crochet stitches in row 1 because of the 2 skipped chains. As you can see up close, the stitches are very clean and well defined. The yarn creates a fabric that feels soft but not flimsy. There's a nice flexibility to it, so it moves with the body, but it still holds its shape really well. You can stretch it gently and it bounces back. Now, we crochet 2 and turn. Let's get on to our 3rd row. We've now crocheted about 15 rows, and I really wanted to take this moment to show the yarn close up. When you run your fingers across it, there's that beautiful textured feel from the yarn's soft curl, and it glides smoothly. It's that kind of fabric that drapes gently, especially on the body and along the hem, and the panels themselves stay neat and structured. As you can see, we are crocheting 2, turning, and beginning our next row. It is important to note that we will continue this method until we arrive at row 24, where we will double crochet in each stitch until 4 to 6 stitches remain depending on your size. We'll chain 2 and turn, and that will be our underarm shaping. We will continue this method until we arrive at row 33 and 34, where we really begin the neckline shaping. Prior to row 34, we began by double crocheting 2 stitches together and turning. We also start row 34 by double crocheting 2 stitches together, but this time we will double crochet until 6 to 10 stitches remain, depending on your size. We'll simply ignore, as that will be the swoop for our neckline. We'll chain 2 and turn. For all sizes, you will now have 17 stitches that you'll be working across. It is now time to begin our strap shaping. You'll double crochet in each stitch across until 2 stitches remain. You'll double crochet those 2 stitches together, chain 2, and turn. For all sizes, we will now have 16 stitches across. You'll simply double crochet in each stitch across until your desired length of strap. Fasten off. We have now finished our 2 front panels, and you can see here the neckline and the underarm shaping. Now I'll show you how to add that beautiful accent detail, what makes the Edgewise Vest the Edgewise Vest. As you can see here, our edging will be omitted on the side of our underarm shaping, but will be present at both front panels where our neckline shaping begins. This edging method gives your vest a refined, stitched-in look by crocheting directly into the fabric with your accent yarn color. No added rows, just subtle structure. I prefer to use a contrasting color. We'll hold the contrasting yarn tail behind the fabric, about 4 to 6 inches long for weaving in later. Insert your hook 2 rows down from the edge. Yarn over using your working yarn, not the tail, and pull up a loop. For the first stitch, I like to chain back into the first row, just for added stability, but you'll simply chain 1, move 2 stitches over, and insert the hook 2 rows down. As you can see here, I'm counting 2 double crochets between, pull through, and chain 1. We'll repeat this pattern, inserting our hook into the fabric, pulling up a loop, chaining 1, skipping 2 double crochet stitches across the bottom edge and neckline. For a looser edge, chain 3, but trust your eye and feel free to explore and implement different edging. Using a contrasting color makes your vest pop just enough without overpowering the body of the vest. It adds this nice, framed feel that ties everything together, quite literally, as we'll do later. Even though the vest is made with all double crochet, this edging gives it that boutique, handmade detail that makes it look extra polished with a splash of fun. Now it's time to join the neckline with our crochet bow tie and tie this piece together quite literally. To make the bow closure, I am going to hold 2 strands of yarn together. That's going to give it a bit more thickness and structure so it doesn't look flimsy once it ties. You can use your main color, contrast color, or mix the two. It's totally up to you. I'm feeding from the inside and from the top of our skin or yarn ball. Now that we're holding our two strands of yarn, we are going to insert them into the closest stitch on our neckline shaping. I'm chaining about 60 to 80 stitches here, depending on how long you want your ties. You'll see that using two strands make the chain look more defined and a little bit sturdier, which is great since the bow tie itself will get pulled and tied often. Once you have your chain, just weave it through the neckline area, right where the shaping starts on each panel. When you tie it in a bow, it gives this soft, handmade touch that also adds function, helping the vest stay closed without buttons. The back panel itself starts off as a clean rectangle, all in double crochet, no shaping at first. It's wider than the front panels, and you're just building up those even rows for structure. But once you get to around row 25, you'll notice that the shaping starts. I'm decreasing one stitch at the end of odd rows and at the start of even rows, which creates this subtle inward slope on both sides. It will mirror the shaping on both the front panels, and you'll see the edges gently tapered in towards the top. This shaping is what helps the shoulders line up nicely when everything gets seamed together. It gives the vest a really clean fit without needing dramatic angles. After a few rows of shaping, I'll finish with one final even row and fasten off. Now that all panels are finished, it's time to put everything together. I've laid out the back panel flat with the two front panels on top, right sides facing up. You'll see the edges line up at the shoulders and sides. This is where we'll seam. I start by joining the shoulders first, just about 3.5 to 4 inches in from each top edge. You can use a whip stitch with your darning needle or a slip stitch with your crochet hook, depending on the look you want. Next, I move to the side seams, working from the bottom up and stopping about 7 inches from the top to leave room for the armholes. You'll see it start to take shape as a vest as soon as those seams are in. Once it's seamed, I weave in any remaining ends. Once our project is complete, I like to wet block. This helps even out the stitches and makes everything lie flat and smooth. However, it is important to note that typically during this process, your crochet vest will grow in size. So if you're happy with how it looks, you can simply skip this step. You will place your finished piece in the water, pressing it down lightly so that it is fully submerged. Typically, you can let it soak for about 15 to 20 minutes, but I usually do about 2 to 3 minutes to let it absorb the water and relax. After soaking your vest for your desired amount of time, carefully lift the vest out. Make sure not to wring or twist. Support the weight of the fabric so it doesn't stretch out. Then you'll want to transfer your vest to a clean towel. Then roll it up gently and press to remove the excess water. Once the excess water is removed from your piece, you will carefully take your vest to a blocking mat or flat surface. You can see how the yarn did not pill, and it still kept its structure and integrity. It is important to note that once your vest is placed on your hard surface or blocking mat, you will either want to use pins or simply tie the vest using your bow tie so that it keeps its shape, especially at the neckline, underarm curves, and strap ends. Let it dry completely. This might take overnight. And once it's dry, your fabric and piece will feel softer, more even, and ready to wear.